Welcome to the Elliott Confidential Podcast. I'm Christopher Elliott, here with Aaron Elliott. We are in Singapore, and we are at the famous Marina Bay Sands.
Wow.
In one of their very large rooms. Maybe you've never heard of the Marina Bay Sands, but I am sure that you've seen it. It's that big building that it's kind of a landmark, and when you look at Singapore, you can see it. It's like 3 towers and then kind of a top, like this picture that we're showing you right now.
Yes.
And we'll tell you all about our experience here in just a minute. It is, I have to warn you, Aaron, it is extreme hospitality alert.
Oh, yes.
These guys are, it's crazy.
But where do we want to begin? We want to begin in Kuala Lumpur?
Well, we could even go farther back because our last podcast left off in KK and Kota
Kinabalu.
I know I'm going to say Kota Kinabalu. I should interrupt just to say that we had some comments on YouTube about this podcast that came from people in Malaysia, and they thought that we were, I think the quote is, ignorant and stupid. We...
guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged, yes. So please keep those comments coming. We love reading them, and we love deleting them from our YouTube channel. Actually, we didn't delete all of them. It was just a few that went over the top.
Yes.
But we... this week we went from KK to, and in Malaysia they like to actually use abbreviations like LA, NYC. So KK, Kota Kinabalu, and then to the capital,
KL,
which is KL, right? And then to JB,
Johor Bahru, which is right north of Singapore.
Right. So we went to so JB. We actually stayed at a really nice resort on the coast, and then we found our way over to Singapore. So we'll go over all that too. But first, our question of the week, which is about security and safety. And our question is: where is the safest that you have ever felt when you have traveled? It can be a destination or it could be an airline. And by airline, like there's some airlines, did you know this, Aaron? There's some airlines that have never had a crash.
Really?
Yeah, like EasyJet is one of the safest airlines, and I was reading about this.
And that's a low-cost carrier, isn't it?
It's low-cost, high safety. So where's the safest, Aaron, where's the safest that you've ever felt?
Well, I mean, gosh, I think that there's a whole list of countries that I would feel totally safe, leaving all of my belongings on the street and thinking nothing would happen to them. Think Middle East, think Qatar,
yes.
Abu Dhabi. This place is definitely like that. Maybe Switzerland. There's some places that are just super safe. I mean, but place where you feel 100% secure, that's a really hard thing to come by.
Yeah,
where you just feel like everyone is sort of has your back.
Yeah, I mean, they're in some surveillance states, when you leave something behind, they will find you. They'll track you down. Even at this hotel, I see you watching us. Even at this hotel, I left my sunglasses up at the pool yesterday, and they found us. So they knew who we were, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm glad, I'm grateful to have my sunglasses back, but they knew who we were.
Running a tight ship, huh?
They're running a very, very tight ship. Anyway, we should start with our flight. The flight actually from KK to
JB.
Well, not to JB, but
KL.
I'm getting all my acronyms confused. The flight from KK to JL was pretty uneventful, but we flew Air Asia, which is a very popular low-cost carrier on a domestic flight. From KL to JB, I'm getting this right, I think.
Yes.
And we had 2 very interesting things happen to us. So let me show you this picture here. The Air Asia flights are legendary for having not a lot of legroom. This flight, the seats on this flight had 28 inches of seat pitch. That is the smallest amount of seat pitch that I think I've ever seen. And when I got on the plane, I asked the flight attendant, is it true that your seats really have 28 inches of seat pitch? And he actually apologized to me. He said, I'm really sorry. Yes, they're very, very small, but it's only a short flight, and you're going to be fine. He was very reassuring. So that was the first thing. But then there was something else that happened to us. Aaron, I think you tell the story better.
Well, we were checking in for our domestic flight at Terminal 2, KL International Airport, or as they like to say, KLIA, and they had a scale there, and the scale was run by AirAsia. You know, guess who? And they said, oh, have you paid for, because they weighed our bags and they weighed more than 7 kilos. And they, oh, did you pay for extra overhead space or overhead weight? And I said, no. It's like, okay, go to that line there and pay extra.
Yeah,
so
and I should say, our luggage was the right size. It just weighed more. And how much did we pay for that?
An extra $15 per person.
Yeah, so it's $30 altogether.
Not terrible, but imagine if the price were more, or if you're on a longer flight and they were able to justify that. Ugh, that would not be fun.
A little bit ridiculous. Yeah, and actually I have heard about this happening also in the United States, where your luggage is being weighed and then you're being charged an excess luggage fee, even if it's the right size. So, a warning to anyone who is traveling in the near future and flying, make sure that your carry-on luggage doesn't weigh too much, otherwise you could be charged extra. I have a couple of stories coming out on that, but really, really important.
What I want to do one of these days is get like a really small bag and then just fill it with lead. It's just try to bring it on. It's like, oh, why is the conveyor belt stop working at security? I don't know.
Bowling ball. I want to take some bowling balls with me. Yeah, just to see what happens.
Look, we all have different needs when we're traveling.
Yeah, but you know, the interesting thing is that they only charge one fee, so it's $15, and it can be as heavy as.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because yours was heavier than mine, and they charge us the same.
Well,
so I don't think that they. Maybe they have like an excess. Well, it doesn't matter.
I don't know. If I were transporting bowling balls, maybe they would charge me more.
We'll see. You don't have a bowling ball that you travel with.
But why would I travel with a bowling ball?
I don't know. I've heard of people traveling. Like I did a case a while back where there was someone who, you know how they say items may shift in flight, and someone they opened the overhead and there was a bowling ball and it fell on their head. And yeah, no, it's a true story.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, so we went from KL to JB, got picked up there, and we went to a resort called the Anantara, one of our favorite places. And the Anantara was over in Desaru, which is on kind of like I want to say the east coast of Malaysia. And Aaron, what did we find there?
Well, we saw, a really new development happening in Desaru. All of the resorts there, they were all developed just before the pandemic.
Right, 2019. Yeah.
And so these are really new resorts.
So they have the Anantara, they have the Hard Rock, and they have, I want to say a one and only, they have a couple of properties, plus also a theme park, which we did not go to.
No.
But we hung out there at the Anantara, and they got a couple of interesting things going on there.
Yeah, they do. So mainly, it's just a beach resort. It's like really any other beach resort, except it's in Malaysia. And so that brings with it a whole bunch of new things. We came really looking at the perspective of wellness, because this is a new project that you're working on.
Series on wellness. Yep.
So just a plug for his stories there.
Thank you very much.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Actually, tomorrow on Forbes, I'll have something on wellness. And I'll also, if you're getting my other newsletter, you'll get a link to it there.
So what we did is we talked and we asked a lot of questions about what are the aspirations for wellness, and really what they said is we want to integrate it in as many features and amenities with the hotel as possible, and that was really cool. So we got to see, for example, what the spa was like, and really what they want to do in order to integrate that into more. So if you're a hotel guest and you're really into wellness, I guess they'll have more opportunities for you to use the spa. Of course, use the spa more. Right?
Well, actually, so wellness used to just be a spa thing, and now wellness is more like it's integrated into the menu. So there's a healthy menu. You don't want to just hotel food can be very, very enlarging. So
enlarging,
expansive.
expansive.
Yes. So you want to go to a hotel and eat healthy food, and then there's also the spa experience, and then there's we did a cooking class. We have a picture here of me doing a cooking class. I look like a dark bishop in this, but they give you I had a black shirt on, but then they gave us a black hat, and this is me making Thai food.
Yeah.
And then also other activities and excursions. So I went on a tour of the mangroves, and it was very peaceful. We saw a lot of really interesting wildlife. All that is part of the overall wellness experience that hotels are trying to do now. This is a really big trend. It used to be that when you thought of wellness, you just thought of getting a massage. Now it's everything. So my series, shameless plug for my series, is that I'm going to be researching stories about hotels that are doing this kind of integration and are trying to move to a more holistic definition of wellness.
Yes, and there are a lot of really interesting projects happening around the hotel space about wellness. And I think one example is there's this resort in Phuket that we keep hearing about that has a full sort of integrated wellness program. It's basically a leader in that regard. So there's a lot of interesting things happening. But for right now, wellness is sort of your own deal. You still have to take care of it yourself. So if you want to go do a spa, you do the spa. If you want to relax at the pool, obviously that's a you thing. If you want to eat healthy food, you have to ask for it.
Yeah,
so
make special arrangements. Yeah, but things are changing, and this is a really interesting trend for me to be observing. By the way, that hotel in Phuket, I think we are going to be able to see that one soon. We did have one of the elements of wellness was a cooking class here. So this cooking class that we did was for Thai food. Anantara has something called Spice Spoons. It's a program, and we did Spice Spoons when we were in Ireland at the Anantara property there, where the guy there taught us how to make Irish soda bread. This time this was not Malaysian food, but it was Thai food, and it was lots of spice. But the thing that really surprised me was they do use a lot of oil in their food.
Probably not as much as Malaysian food, though.
Malaysian food, there's a lot of oil also that's used. Which brings me actually to a really useful tip. Just because it's made with vegetables, or maybe they're cutting back on the meat, doesn't necessarily mean it's all healthy for you. There are a lot of ingredients there where you ask about it and you make other arrangements, or you don't ask about it and say, I'm on vacation, I'm just going to eat whatever they're going to give me. But it sure was delicious. I loved it. And we have to talk about the Ramadan buffet.
Yes. Because
we were there at the end of Ramadan. Ramadan is the entire month, basically, of March. It's a Muslim holiday, and essentially, I should say this for people who don't know, is that you basically fast during the day. So at night, after sunset, they have the Ramadan buffet.
Yes.
And Aaron, what did we find at the Ramadan buffet?
So much food.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's fasting is one of these new health trends too.
Yeah.
Which I think it segs perfectly. So you can go there and you can get all sorts of Malaysian food. They have these giant woks. Like the amount of food at this buffet is just crazy.
Insane.
Yes.
Lots of food.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a cruise ship.
I don't even know if you could compare it to a cruise ship. I don't think I've seen a buffet that big. Ever. I mean, I think when I was young, our favorite buffet was always the unfortunately gone company, Sweet Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Tomatoes was great, but that was a tiny buffet
compared to this. Yeah. This was truly next level.
Well, and people were eating a lot because they hadn't eaten all day, right? So now you get the idea.
Small women, with their head coverings, just with huge plates of food going back over.
Yeah.
I didn't know where they were putting it all. It was very impressive.
I mean, humans require a lot of energy to function.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're fasting. Anyway, I thought that it was a really great cultural experience. If you ever have a chance to go to a Ramadan buffet, you can only do it in March, you should do it because the food is really good and it's a real interesting cultural experience as well. So highly recommend that. From Anantara, we drove to Singapore.
Yeah.
And I want to know, Aaron, like what is it like to go from Malaysia to Singapore?
Wow, well, it's a long trip, firstly. Where we drove, it was roughly 2.5 hours because of the border.
It was the border, right?
It was the checkpoint. We had to go, so we did Woodlands checkpoint. That was the fastest one. And yeah, the landscape changes really significantly. So you go from, in Johor Bahru, you have roads just with palm plantations basically, and then you go to Singapore, you cross over, and it's just completely different. It's more like what you would see in Borneo, a lot more a lot more conservation, parks, a lot more, of course, skyscrapers because they don't have much room to go outwards.
So there's a switch from all the signs are in Malay or Malaysian, and then everything switches to English. So a couple of years back, well, this is maybe going back a little farther than that, everyone in Singapore switched to English. So it's English, but it's also, we were talking about Singlish. It's spoken a little bit differently, but it's still English. But all the road signs are in English, so you can understand everything. But it is, I wouldn't necessarily say it was like Borneo, because Borneo was really wild. Here, it's the parks are very well manicured. It's a little bit more like Switzerland.
Yes, that's true.
Very, very purposeful. But it's a different world. It's like someone flips a switch and you go from one place to another. I found it to be very jarring, but not in a bad way. Just like, oh my gosh, I didn't really expect that. So this is our first time to Singapore.
Yeah.
When you check into Marina Bay Sands, there are actually 2 check-in areas. We were very fortunate that we got to check in Tower 1, which is where they have all the really big rooms, the suites. And the first thing that they do is they serve you some tea. And this was really good tea, actually.
That's just pandan tea.
Pandan tea, yeah. Pandan is made from pandan leaves. It's very popular in this part of the world. And then they bring you up to the room. Now, this is where we get the extreme hospitality alert. When we checked into our room, one of the guys checking us in, they have like butlers here, said, "We saw your last podcast and we saw that you really liked cuy. So we made you some cuy." I have a picture here as a model of the hotel, on a Monopoly board. I don't know why they do a Monopoly board, but that's kind of cool. And then they had like 6 different kinds of cuy that they made just for us. And how was it?
Oh, the cuy, it was awesome. A lot of it was really, really good.
Yeah.
There's only one cuy that I don't like, which is the onde onde, but other than that, I mean, God, the cuy is great.
I love the cuy, yeah.
And I think this was a joke. They did something really weird. Okay, so first of all, we're vegans, right? That's the case. But someone got the bright idea to do this. So they have a snack bar in this room.
Yes.
Everything, of course, from the snack bar you have to pay for. But here, I'm going to pick something out of the snack bar, and we'll see if you recognize it from the last podcast.
Yeah, they had a really good sense of humor because they had actually watched the whole podcast, and then they saw us.
All right.
Plugging
Too much.
this. Yes. We can't eat these, but
yeah,
they thought it was hilarious, and we thought it was kind of funny too that they had brought these in as a snack. Are you going to open that?
No. If I open it, then we have to pay for it still. So it's it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, here, we'll give it to you.
Anyway, here is a view of the Singapore Straits from our room. and it's really very beautiful. They have like the building actually slopes downward a little bit. It's not it doesn't go straight down, so you have like a place where you can put flowers, like they're planting things, and what a great view. You can see the park there, and the container ships out there in the straits. Very, very nice. And the highlight, of course, of this hotel, I know they want me to say it's the casino. It's actually the pool. The pool upstairs is crazy. It's the whole upstairs. So you see that like platform on top. That is actually a pool and a couple of restaurants, and you have these beautiful views of the city of the Singapore, of all of Singapore here, and it's really quite something. It's spectacular.
Well, another part about this whole experience is you have to realize Marina Bay Sands is a mall also.
Yes.
And so they have, it's a pretty crazy mall too. Anyway, roughly 9 years ago, my brother was super into like celebrity chefs and the cooking channel, and
I remember that. Yeah.
And so he wanted to go see Black Tap while we were in New York.
Yeah.
And they have a Black Tap here.
They do.
It's craziness.
Our best meal so far, and there have been lots of really good meals, was a place called Milos, which is a Greek very famous Greek restaurant. Here's a picture of Aaron taking a picture.
Taking picture.
Yes.
Yes. Now he speaks English.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning Singlish. Taking a picture of the Greek food that we had. What is that dish there that was like almost a hummus?
Oh
bean?
yeah, Santorini.
Oh yeah, it was so
Santorini.
If you ever get a chance to go to Singapore, check out Milos. It is a really great restaurant. They also have vegetarian and vegan dishes there.
You bury the lead. The reason why it's such a crazy restaurant is because they have a plane that ships fresh produce fresh produce and fish from the Greek islands. It's a 16-hour flight from there to Singapore. So they go first to Dubai and then here, and that's how they get their food. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely decadent, but still very interesting.
I think they just ship it commercially. I don't think it's a private flight.
Maybe, but another case, they have a food court that has 2 Michelin star restaurants.
Yes. I think we have a picture of that. So we'll show you a picture of the Michelin starred. I've never been to a food court with a Michelin starred restaurant, so this is a first for me. I wanted to tease one thing. We are going to be in Japan next week, and we have a really big surprise for you. So you're going to definitely want to tune into the next podcast. It's a surprise that I never saw coming, and I'm really excited about. In our last podcast, we asked the question, what is the most remote place that you've ever been to? And we've been to quite a few remote places. Borneo was one of them. Also the Antarctic. We lived in the western part of the United States, and we got to some pretty remote places as well. But you have also, it turns out, been to some pretty remote places. Ross says the geographic North Pole. He says Santa Claus showed up to say hello, ho, ho. We do have pictures. Hey, Ross, share the pictures. We would love to see them. Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, sure. Randa writes, Easter Island, it was fabulous and the people lovely. That's great. I mean, I've heard a lot about Easter Island. Easter actually has sort of an outsized influence on sort of that whole region, because there's a lot of influence, particularly this trade route from South America to Polynesian islands. Which is it's a very interesting thing if you do research on it, because it's a real thing.
We lived in Chile a few years back, but I have a question. If you say it was fabulous and the people lovely, is that Singlish?
No, you'd say it was fabulous and people lovely.
That would be Singlish.
Yes.
Okay, all right. F. Harrison says False Pass, Alaska, a fairly long ride on the Vomit Comet. And to get there, but a beautiful place and great trip. I don't even know where False Pass, Alaska is. If I tried to guess, I would get it false.
All right. William writes probably La Paz, Bolivia, for testing of an airplane at high altitude airport.
Wow. Okay, I haven't been to Bolivia yet. It's on our to visit list, though.
Yeah. You know, when we went to Quito, though, I know that there are some, I believe La Paz is it's the highest city in the world.
Yeah.
But gosh, that really messes with you. Your blood oxygen goes down. And
oh, you get sick. Yeah, you get sick.
You get really
Absolutely,
sick.
Yeah. Mark says Iceland is the most remote area I have been to, and Iceland actually is on our list soon. I think we might be there in the next few months, possibly, once it warms up a little bit. Now it's maybe a little bit cold still. Anyway, thanks for watching the Elliott Confidential podcast. Like I said, big surprise coming next week. We're signing off from Singapore. We'll have more from Singapore. We have one more hotel to check out, and then we will be in Japan. So we'll see you next week from Tokyo.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.